Hello everybody, and thanks for joining us on a Monday morning, at least for us West Coasters. As you said, this is an Ask the Charts, an opportunity for you to ask us any questions you have, and I'm going to take a little bit of time and show you some of the stuff we have coming out very shortly. If you were here for the last Ask the Team, we took a look at some of the gauges stuff, and I believe we looked at a little bit of MVC. Today I'm going to dive into some of the new stuff our team's been working on gauges. I'm also going to look at some of the other platforms on gauges such as the WinForms, some of the WinForms enhancements we have. And we're also going to take a look at a couple of the charting things you may not have seen yet. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and minimize this slideshow. Let's see. And there we go. And the first thing I mentioned again was the gauges. And again, I have to take the hat off team. They've done a fantastic job. They've come out with some new cool stuff since the last one that I'm pretty eager to show you. So previously, I had shown a few of our circular and linear gauges. And let's see, there's that, and some of the animation options that are available, and not just animation, the customization. I mean, this obviously isn't an out-of-the-box gauge, but it shows you some of the things that are possible with our gauge set. And even then, this stuff surprisingly isn't terribly difficult. I had a chance to put together some videos and had a chance to dig in and really start doing some work with the gauges, and I'm really shocked at how easy it was to build out a gauge that looks good and works in a very dynamic way. So yeah, this one is pretty interesting in that it shows some of the, I don't want to say custom animation, but some of the custom behaviors. So you noticed as soon as the pressure, this little marker on the outside, went from red to yellow, our icon in the center changed. So, and same thing, we turn it down to the green, take our pressure way down, which means we have snow, and we'll turn the temperature way up, and that snow should turn into, I thought it turned into rain. Maybe it has to do something more with pressure. Anyway, there we go. And so that's some of the stuff. The interactions there are pretty cool. Let's see. Again, the animations, which we'd take a look at before, and also some customization, making this look like a graphic EQ. So let's go back to this really quick. In addition to the animations, we definitely have some of the styling options. So you don't have to be a graphic designer to make your charts look great. I'm sorry, not charts, but gauges look great. We have a number of good presets, just as we do in the WinForms, if you're familiar with those. So let's go back. We'll also take a look at some of the linears. So some options depending on what kind of markers you want to use, bars, range bars, or markers. Also the ability to show percents. Again, the linears, just like the circular gauges, have a bit of interactivity that's programmed into it. So this is pretty much the same thing, except instead of circular, we're looking at a linear. So you still get interactivity, or I don't say interactivity, but programmability in the middle. So we can adjust the icon in the center based on our inputs. Again, animations, and here's one of the new gauges the team put together. It's pretty cool. So we have here the something that looks like digital view meters, or not digital view meters, but old school analog meters. And you'll notice that as they're moving, they're doing a little bounce, and that's because we also have some easing functions built into the needle movement, allowing us to change how the needle progresses. So you can get a look that, again, looks very analog and old school, or you can have, simple eases from one position to the next, bounces, all sorts of options for easing in there, and then again also duration, highly configurable. All right, I believe this is, yeah, this one is really cool. The idea of a digital oscilloscope again. Team has done a fantastic job in putting together a really cool demo with this. Now, the gauges part of this is all of these interactive knobs. So versus treating the gauge as just a display device, we've really turned it into something that is a bit of interactivity. So it's not just a gauge anymore, it's now a knob or some sort of dial for whatever your application needs. So I saw this, I was pretty amazed. The guys did, like I said, a fantastic job. Pretty excited to see this, and I think it opens up a lot of options. So this is kind of how the gauges have been progressing in the last month or so. Like I said, there's some cool things that have come in here. We're also going to take a look at gauges for WinForms. I'm going to go ahead and close this. Actually, I'll just minimize it for the time being in case somebody has any questions. And we're going to take a look at the WinForms gauges. So a couple of the things that are coming to you in DXperience 2011 Volume 1 is this auto layout. And it allows, for those who aren't familiar, it allows you to specify, or it allows you to define how the charts are laid out and how they react to resizes within things like this splitter. So, as you saw, beginning, we have them much bigger. Depending on how I drag this around, they auto resize. Now, the part that's one of the things that's changed on it is the interval and padding. So this allows me to determine, how much padding they all get as a group or how much padding they get individually. To basically to kind of further define how these look when they're in the auto layout. And not further defined, but tweak and customize, so you can get it just right for your application. The other thing that's new is this handle custom draw events, and what we're really looking at here is a circular gauge that's hovering between about 45% and 55%. And the other one is a linear gauge that's just bouncing up and down from about, let's see, 10 to 80-ish%. So when we switch these to custom graphics, we now get a music note that's moving up and down on a scale, and our circular chart circular gauge has been is now represented by a yin-yang symbol that's twisted, the dots obviously twisting with the values, showing maybe the balance between the two, since we're hovering around 50%. Again, pretty cool. The options here are pretty limitless. So again, one of those things is you can turn your custom charts into some really cool visual behavior that will make your application unique and definitely make you stand out. And the last thing is the Style Manager. Now, what Style Manager is for is allowing you to change your look and feel via, I don't want to use the word wizard, but via a runtime dialog. So as you can see here, I pop this up, I hit the Show Style Chooser. And this is something you can launch within your own app, or basically launch and enable you to configure and customize. And what we're seeing here is showing only the styles with the same shape. Now, we have, I'm going to say there's what, let's see, 2, 3, 4, looks like there's about 24 different style options in this. So we're going to choose the Gothic matte, and actually that one's a little bright. Let's go something a little darker background. You can see that number stand out a little bit better. All right, so what we did is we just changed the style. Now, the interesting thing, this checkbox down here, this show styles the same shape. Not only can we change the style or the theming on it, we can also adjust the shape. You can see I changed that from show all items with the same shape to, shape to theme. So now we're seeing all of our various shapes that we can use within that theme. So, we can switch our circular to a quarter gauge, or, switching it to a, let's see what else we have here. Here we go, almost a linear style gauge. Granted, it's not quite linear, but still the vertical layout versus a round or a quarter or any of those. And this is available for all of the gauge types within WinForms, including the digital gauges. And you'll notice it doesn't have the drop down here because the digital gauges just have the one style or the one shape. So, and the last part of the other part of this is the style manager, which in addition to adjusting the style, it does it by popping up the same dialog we've already seen. In addition to that, it also allows us to define the container. So when we're using, I'm sorry, not container, it does allow us to define the container. Let's talk about layout. When we're using layout, we can either turn on or off the layout, as well as adjust settings for the layout. So in this one, if I have the layout off, I'm adjusting the left top width and height, which I can adjust those. And if layout's on, that goes instead from the width height and the top bottom to the top bottom for the layout group itself. So now we have ability to adjust the paddings in the top and left, but the height and width is now specified as right and bottom. Oops, let's try. So allowing us to move it and adjust its position within the layout. And the other thing was the container. Now, one of the things that we've improved in the 2011.1 release is the enhanced handling of skinning for the gauges. Now, before you had this background that was background you defined, which if you had a dark skin or a skin that had a different color background, if it was something like this or maybe a gray background, you'd have to go in and manually change the background color yourself to make it match with the background. Now we have, like I said, enhanced handling of the skins, so when it's using the skin settings, it will automatically match to whatever my overall skin is using. So in this case, background is white, and if we use our look and feel, and go to, say, a dark skin, there we go. Immediately, my gauge just fits in with the background. I don't have to go change the background of my gauge, which basically allows us to not have to worry about manually adjusting our gauge backgrounds. So again, pretty cool stuff, and obviously the fitting in with the skinning is a pretty big, pretty cool deal. So that's some of the new stuff that's coming in 2011 for gauges, and this is, like I said, WinForms. We looked at the some of the interactivity and some of the stuff coming in WPF. Next thing we're going to look at is some of the charting, some of the new charting stuff we have coming in 2011. I've done a blog post on scrolling and zooming. I thought it would be kind of cool to take a look and see actually in person what some of the features are and how it looks, how it works. So as you can see here, I've got a fairly big data set. I believe this is about, I want to say it's a few thousand points and maybe 3,000 points per line. We've got 3 lines, so we've got, 9,000 points. And as you can see along the bottom here, we have a date-time scale. I'm going to use this scroll bar. Now you'll notice the scroll bar here, by default, it has these little ticks on the end. And these little ticks tell me that I can use it to adjust my zooming for that axis. So you can see I drug that over, and what we just did is we zoomed in on our x-axis. Now, we now have the option to either grab in the middle here and drag over, oops, or use the scroll bar and adjust manually or adjust via the scroll bar. Now, both sides of these of the scroll bar have this cool ability to do that zooming. Additionally, I can use the mouse scroll. I just lost my mouse. Oh, there it is. I have a digital mouse with a digital mouse wheel on it that happens to scroll a little faster than I like. So let's take this back down. And there we go. So part of the features, is the ability to handle your scrolling and zooming the mouse, either via the scroll bars or via your scroll on your mouse. Additionally, we have position options for positioning it, so we can put the scroll bars on either side, top, bottom, left, right. We also have the ability to turn them on and off, so we can disable particular scroll bars. Now you notice there's two checkboxes. One of them is enable navigation, the other one's show scroll bar. Enable navigation is the enabling of the scrolling in its entirety for this, versus showing the scroll bar. I can still use my mouse wheel and scroll, and I can use the mouse to drag it around. I'm just not showing the scroll bars. Now, if we turn off navigation, let's say for the x-axis, there we go. Now the scroll bar disappears, and I truly have lost the ability to scroll up the y-axis, so up and down. I still have the left-right because I left that enabled, but the other's completely disabled, versus just turning off the scroll bar. If you disable the navigation, you lose the scrolling for that axis completely. So that's one of the new scrolling zooming coming, or scrolling and zooming for WPF and Silverlight is coming soon in 2011.1. Additionally, I think we went over our new chart types last time, but for those that hadn't seen it previously, we have the 2D stack line, 2D full stack line, which is similar to the stacked bar and full stack bar series, except that we're representing with a line. So you can kind of get an overview of the trends versus bars. We have the 2D step line and the 2D step area. So those are coming soon. And let's see, the last thing I wanted to look at, pull it up here, is, there we go, some of the, let's see, what do we, oh yeah, that's right, the label enhancements for axis and series points in WinForms and ASP.NET. So this is pretty cool. As you'll see here, we have our x-axis here has a handful of labels, and some of them are multi-line. Now, there are scenarios where your chart may not be as big as this one, and I'm going to say I think I can't make this much smaller, can I? Oh, I can't, good. So, there's times when your chart's much smaller, and this new enhancement allows us to define how we handle our labels. So we have the ability now to specify a maximum width for our labels. So let's, I'm going to use the chart wizard here. And we're going to go to point labels. Not point labels, sorry. Axis, there we go. And labels. All right, so there we go. We have this this new thing here called max width, and what that is a maximum width in pixels. So by default, or at least in this setup, currently it has 70. I'm going to change that to 50, or if we update it, we can make it lower, say 30. Obviously, that doesn't look so good in this case, just because the words I have don't fit within a 30 pixel bound very well. Let's go back to 50. I think 50 looked pretty good. And now as you see, it automatically is wrapping anything beyond 50 pixels. Now, while this is actually really useful, there's one more thing that was added here, and that's this max line count. Now you can see some of these have one line. General Electric has 2, Royal Dutch Shell has 3. Well, there are times that you don't want to show 3. You don't even want to, you just want to show, say, 1. So what we can do is we can say set this to 1 and change this back to, let's say, 70. Now what we get is anything that goes beyond a 70 pixels wide, instead of wrapping down a line, it's going to just add an ellipse and give me the ability to truncate that. Now, like I said, when you have big charts with quite a few items along your x-axis, and you have a small chart, sometimes it's difficult to see them all. So this is really a way to allow you to fine-tune that labeling so that you have a chart that's pretty well visible regardless of the size. Now you could also throw in something like some math to get the overall width of the chart divided by how many items you have on your X. If you know that the overall width is 300 wide and you have 10 items, obviously you don't want to exceed more than, say, 30 pixels wide. So you could definitely add in some math there to automate some of this, so that when your chart's resized, you dynamically adjust this max width and max line count to make your labels look as good as they possibly can. So that's again, that's one of the cool features coming to us in 2011.1. And I think, Amanda, that is about all I had set up for showing some of our new features.
Okay.
I'll hand it off to you.
All right. Well, if anyone has any questions, obviously get them in now for Brian or the charting team to answer. We'll just give you a few moments to get those in if you have any. Let's see. We have webinars currently up and scheduled through June. So check out the lineup at devexpress.com/webinars and register. And I don't see any questions, Brian, so
well, all right.
If you want to wrap it up, then we can do that.
Let's see. Yeah, I think that is good then. Yeah, let's, again, I want to say thanks to everybody for coming, and I'll let you close it out, Amanda. Sorry.
Awesome. What did you call me?
I almost called you Amber. I don't know why. I think I'm apparently crazy today. It's a Monday, right?
It's Monday, let me tell you. And we're we're live, or I'm live from TechEd on the exhibitor floor. I don't know if you can hear in the background.
No. I am not there. I'm back here in
I know, in the
California.
Office.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Brian. Thank you to the team for being here. If you missed anything from this webinar or you want to review it to see all of the features that Brian showed, you can visit us on the DevExpress channel at tv.devexpress.com. All right. So thank you for joining us, and thanks for choosing DevExpress.